let's talk about the administration. Lots of criticism from the media, from the Democrats, some Republicans, that the messaging is not clear. I said from the second day, or really the first day, seems to me it's pretty clear. The Rubio thing on Israel notwithstanding, and that was a pretty big exception. Seems to me it's pretty clear. Larry, is this criticism that they've not been clear about why now, what the end goals are? Is that a valid criticism to you or not?
I don't, and I honestly, and I'm being completely I'm trying to be as genuine as possible. I don't understand it. First of all, there are two sets of questions here. The first is, why did we engage in a military strike against Iran? And I think that the answer to that question is multifold. So when people say the Trump administration, first this was the reason, then that was the reason. No, all of the above. There are a lot of reasons for this military strike, and we've talked about them ad nauseum. The second question is, why that day? Why now? And I think that there's legitimacy to the answer. The reason why we decided that day had to do with Israeli intelligence. They were going to go ahead with the strike. We wanted to make sure that we were in place. But to suggest that there wasn't going to be a strike after we moved two carrier groups into the region, how many weekends, how many Fridays, Mark, did you say, what will you be watching this weekend? And we all said the same thing, Iran.
Yeah.
We're all going to be watching Iran.
Yeah.
Larry, can I ask you a quick question, though? So there's new reporting, too, that indications were the admin wanted to do this later in March, maybe early April, to get the public more on board with these strikes and the importance of it. Do you think that element was rushed? Was it a missed opportunity? Someone in the State of the Union really driving home the point and the case to be made on this front?
I think it's a fair question to ask. However, if the intelligence, and it was clearly good intelligence, told them that all 40 of the top leaders, including the Ayatollah, were going to be
you got to take that opportunity.
You got to take it. And there's also reporting, I think Mark Caputo is reporting at Axios, that they talked about it the day before the State of the Union, had that intelligence, and Trump purposely downplayed Iran in the State of the Union, lest they give a heads up. So
one of the other
head fake.
Well, one of the other things that in the briefing that they said, although it had been reported before, is that the person who was the Iranian who was the leader of the plot to kill President Trump has now been killed by either the Israelis or the Americans, and that's another talking point they have in terms of the justifying the mission. And again, I just say if someone had tried to kill Barack Obama, how would this be covered if that person had been killed by the United States, right? Not as an extraordinary vengeance for an attempt to kill the life of a president. The economy, undercovered as far as I'm concerned. A lot of focus on oil prices, and the administration yesterday took some steps. Some people are skeptical of them, but they took some steps to try to deal with the supply issue of the Iranians closing off the straits. But there could be all sorts of impacts on the economy. The market so far, as we've seen with these Trump shocks, markets, pricing it in. The market's not, collapsing. Oil prices are up, gas prices are up, but not crazy. But obviously, this fights the affordability agenda. Kevin, is this something that you think we could see soon in a way that would really impact the president's willingness to go forward, or any economic impacts are going to be down the road by the time of which the conflict will likely be over?
Yeah, it's a great question. I still have memories of the ticker on Fox News when I was on every day with the price of gasoline under Joe Biden, and that being a really effective line of attack. You're seeing the president kind of out there calling to our better collective spirit in terms of we might have to pay a price in the short term for this, and we'll see the willingness of Americans to do that, especially if they have questions about why we're doing this in the first place.
Larry, it seems like at a minimum, the president's not going to be able to talk effectively about affordability. Some Republicans are worried also, though, that this could really have a material impact on an economy which has been a puzzle up until now about whether it's strong or not.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, it's the Republicans' concern about it right now, I think, from a political lens, obviously has to be sort of tempered with the fact that we're still far out from November. But I understand them being worried. The fact is, though, I think it's asking a lot for everyone to step aside and not pay attention to, rockets and missiles and destruction and bombs and say, hold on, everyone, because it's affordability day. I mean, I think it's naive to think that
they're going to try that at 3:00 today.
They are going to try. We'll get a case study. Doesn't it, I would say prove, but doesn't it suggest that President Trump is not doing accusations to the contrary. He's not conducting this operation for politics, because the politics of it, unless in the short term and maybe forever, are not good for him, right?
I agree. I think I'm naive enough to believe that the president actually acted in the best interests of our country, our national security, and frankly, he did a huge favor to all of his successors over the next couple of decades, if in fact this ends up being the successful mission we think it is.
Yes, agreed.
But you're right. This was not a political move. The political move was not to give a thumbs up on the strike.
Yeah. Either of you, what would you see as a potential break point between Bibi and Trump? What's the first thing that you think could cause tension between them? Tactics, strategy, ending the war. Where do you see that coming first?
You're asking me?
No, either of you. It's
Both
what we
of
call
us.
a jump ball question. I'll tell you mine, since you both seem to have been stumped. I think Trump's going to want to end the war before Bibi.
I think that's it could be questions on timeline.
Yeah,
I think,
and there's also a notion that Trump did this to get them back to the negotiating table, and I don't think the Bibi or the government in Israel will want to accept any government going forward in Iran that has that theocratic position. And Trump hasn't said that yet.
And
I would like Trump to say no more supreme leaders, no more theocracy. That whole thing is gone.
One of the many questions.
Bibi would not be happy with the number 2 in charge of Venezuela right now.
Right.
Exactly.
If that's the case.
Hey, want to be part of the Two-Way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes, and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing.
You can now listen to full episodes of The Morning Meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.